Hello, my name is Zinger from Terrytown. Welcome to your Zinger 280BH. Just first things first, it's finishing up in the prep bay, so that's why there's going to be a lot of stuff everywhere, but just don't mind that. By the time you get it, everything will be gone. But starting right up front here, we have a light, just in case you do need to hook up at night, a up and down for your front powered tongue jack. If this ever electrically goes out, you can peel this little black tab up here and insert a tool. Once you insert that tool, you can go ahead, crank it up and down, absolute worst case. Coming to your propane tanks, you have a little regulator switch in the back here. Whichever way you point this to is going to be the propane tank that you take the propane from. And you can tell through that little reader right there, when it's red, it'll mean that there's no propane going through. When it's clear, that means there is propane going through. Then you have your battery, and then your battery disconnect back here. So all it is this little power switch. You can have it off or click it on. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just disconnects the battery from the inside of the camper. Right here, you have your sewer hose, which I do recommend getting a better one, and then a 25-foot drinking hose, along with a 110 adapter, just in case you do need to plug this unit into your house. Come on back here, you have your shore power, your city water connections when you first get to a campground. This is going to be your main water source hose that you just plug into. It's going to shoot straight into your lines. You have your outside shower here, hot, cold side, shower hose, and head all inside here. Just down underneath here is going to be your sewer connection. So you have your black tank and then your gray tank. Your black tank is going to be for your toilet and sewer, and then your gray tank is going to be wastewater, so like showers, sinks, stuff like that. I recommend doing the black tank first just because it is the dirtiest water out of the two. So just go ahead, pull that, it's going to drain out. After that, leave that tank open, put a pressurized hose into this black tank flush here. This black tank flush, pretty self-explanatory, flushes out your black tank. So when you do that, it's gonna help get all the toilet paper or any of the extra anything that got stuck on the way out. Helps kind of flush it out, make sure your sensors are all clean. After that, take your hose out, close your black tank, open your gray. The reason why I say open the gray last is just because it's gonna kind of help flush out your sewer hose before you go ahead and put your hands back on there. Right back here, it's gonna be a cable and satellite input. Sister Campground offers that you can plug it in right there. And then just up top there's gonna be a backup camera prep. So if you do decide to purchase one, it will go right back there. This is going to be your outside kitchen area. The only thing you really need to know is for your little grill or stove top. To make sure that has propane, you want to plug it into right here. That's an LP quick connect, so you just pop it right in there. And then once you turn that on and you turn your front propane tanks on, that means it is going to then shoot propane all the way back here into your little grill or stove top. For your stabilizer jacks, you just hold extend until they hit the ground, and maybe hold it for another half second or so more, just to really get that pressure down, because you don't want to actually lift your unit with these. It's just meant to stabilize. So once you feel that pressure, go ahead and just let go. But otherwise, you just hold retract or hold extend. Like that. Once you start to hear it, like not crack, but you know what I mean. Once you hear that pressure start to build. Just on here is going to be your low point drains, hot and cold sides. When it's time to empty your unit out for the winter, you just go ahead and unscrew both of those. Furnace exhaust, when your furnace is on, all the extra heat is going to be kicking out of there. So for kids or animals, anything like that, just be careful with that. If you do have a small TV outside, you can go ahead, have 110 outlets to plug into, and then another little cable input for that. This is your fresh tank, so whether you're going out rustic camping or anything like that and you need to take water with you, you can go ahead, fill this up beforehand, take the water into the park, and then eventually turn on your water pump to draw water from this tank and push it through your lines. What I mean by fill it up before is usually for like national parks and stuff like that, for more rustic sites. They'll sometimes have like a little sewer hose on the outside, well not sewer hose, like a tap basically. You just plug your hose into that, drop your hose in here. It's just a gravity fill, and then fill it up before you go in. Just on here is going to be your drain for that fresh tank. So after your vacation, you just go ahead and pull that tab, and that is going to drain this tank here. For your water heater, there's only a couple steps to turn on, a couple steps to turn off. Just gonna make sure it's closed first. So you take this cap, set it right on this little spout here. Of course, you're gonna wanna make sure it's nice and tight, but I'm just setting it on there for like a visual purpose. But once it's on nice and tight, you go to the inside of your camper and turn on the hot side of your faucet. It's going to sputter for a little bit, but that's just all the air getting pushed out. So once you have a steady flow of water on the inside and that cap is on nice and tight, you can go ahead and flip the switch on the inside to turn this on. To turn this off and to drain it, of course you flip your switch off on the inside, make sure everything's off, and it has been sitting for a little bit, just make sure there's no hot water coming out. You pull this pressure release valve here. It is then going to release your pressure, so it's going to hiss and everything like that. When it's done hissing, go ahead, take your cap off, and let it completely drain out. All of your water is going to shoot out of that little spout and end up draining. To make the process go a little faster, just pull this valve again. It's going to bring air in there and help push it out a little bit quicker. And then last but not least, on the outside, you just have your crank for your stabilizer jacks, just in case those ever go out, and it also doubles as the manual override for the front jack there. So moving in here, this is going to be your main thermostat. So you just choose your temperature with this little slide here, and then choose it with the system accordingly. So you have your cool, fan, off, and heat. So whichever way you move that is going to, do it accordingly. So cool, set your temperature. Heat, set your temperature. But for fan, once it's on there, you have all of your fan settings on the right side. So you can see the low, high, auto, everything like that on the right side. You just go ahead and move it accordingly with that. For your bathroom, you're going to want to know three things. One, it's a foot flush. You just press down with your foot and it'll flush. Then you're going to need RV grade toilet paper, which is just a lot thinner, so it's going to help break down easier, make sure nothing ends up clogging. And then also with your RV grade, well, not RV grade, but a toilet solution. That solution is also going to help break down solids and smells. Once again, just make sure everything flushes easy, breakdown's easy, and you won't have any problems flushing out your black tank. This down here is going to be your breakers and your fuses. So if anything ends up happening, all of your breakers are labeled, and I personally recommend bringing some extra fuses with you. I don't know if you were planning on it or not, but I do, just as a personal preference. So here you got your nice big closet. For your fridge, up top you just hold this to turn it on, and then you have your refrigerator and freezer that you can choose from with these two buttons. And then whichever one you do choose, you just go ahead and flip through the numbers, either up or down. 1 is going to be like a cold, 5 is going to be the coldest, so the higher the number, the colder it gets. And this little button here is going to be for your like a nighttime mode. So basically, if you're going to be gone for the weekend and you still have groceries or stuff in here, you can go ahead and hold that button down, and that's going to activate like a low power or power savings mode basically. So it's just going to have less of a draw. Microwave, pretty self-explanatory. You just type in your numbers and do that. Have a light and fan. And then for your stove top, you just click on the light, choose one of the 3 burners, press in, turn, and you ignite by sparking to the right. Same goes for the other 3. And then for your oven on the far right here, you're going to want to pay attention to this little silver piece way in the back, because that's where your igniter is going to be. So you just press in, turn to the pilot symbol, spark, 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 until you see a small flame appear in the back, and go ahead and adjust your temperature. Inside of here, well, not inside, but these right here are going to be your keys. It's all keyed alike, so everything is going to be off of these gray keys, except your outside shower. Those are going to be off of these silver keys right here. And then for your bedroom, there's not really a whole lot to it. Just you do have a TV mount, breaker location, and then your input and 110 power outlets right there. One thing I did forget to mention about your AC is that what most people do when they get to a campground is actually have these open. So when the AC is coming out, it's going to dump straight out the bottom, start to get air moving, start to cool down. Eventually, when it does start to get cooler, go ahead and close it up. And since it's all ducted, it'll then flow through the ceiling and come out the small circles in the ceiling. Right down here is going to be your carbon monoxide detector. So it's a safety feature that is always going to be on and running. So it has that small little green light there. So excuse me. The only issue is that, like I said, it's always going to be running. Even, if you're unplugged, everything like that is going to draw off of your battery. So make sure you do not forget to turn off that battery disconnect. And then, last but not least, all of your controls. So for all of your tanks and everything like that, to see how full they are, you just hold down and it'll then fill up and show you when you need to empty them. So battery, fresh tank, black tank, gray. These are just, like it says, tanks may vary by model, so that's why you don't have these two, but all the way up until gray tank 1. Water pump, like I mentioned before, if you need to grab water from your fresh tank, go ahead and flip that. Water heater, you have gas and electric, but I do recommend just doing electric so you don't waste your propane. You have all of your lights inside here, so that's awning light, and then accent lights, and then main lights. Awning in and out, you do want to have your awning. I'll show you here. So once you see that little flap kind of come down, and then the gray bar underneath it, that's when you are going to want to let go. That's when it's fully extended. And then last but not least, your slide. When you hold that in, it's going to move in. And then when you hold it out, once you hear that little gear grinding noise, you know you're fully extended. You don't have to be afraid of that. That just means it's the motor reaching its limit. Don't let it sit there for too long. So as soon as you hear it, go ahead and let go. But other than that, that has been your brief orientation. If you do have any questions, please feel free to write them down and take them in with you. Other than that, feel free to email me back and I can help get those answers for you. But other than that, congratulations, and I hope you enjoy.